Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I am going to be putting together a traveler's notebook spread using the Colorcast Designs June release. So the acrylic pieces that inspired today's spread are the ones right here. So I have one that says Summer Looks Like, and it is almost like a sea glass tealish blue color. And then I've got three fruit acrylic pieces. So a watermelon, like a half of a watermelon or a quarter, I guess, a watermelon slice, and a pineapple. So these pieces inspired my spread for today. I also went ahead and typed out some journaling on a piece of plain white cardstock, and my plan is to put my pieces up here at the top. And then I also went through some of the recent photos I have taken and pulled out 5 different ones that had a really thin horizontal orientation where I could print them really small and just stack them on top of each other on the opposite side of the traveler's notebook. And these are all ones that represent things that we are doing now that it is summer. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward while I get today's spread put together. The other thing I want to mention is I am working inside of a new traveler's notebook. My other one's getting a little bit bulky, so I don't want to add any more acrylic pieces to it. I'm still going to add some more spreads into that book. I just need them to be a little bit on the thinner side. So I'm opening up a brand new traveler's notebook from Studio Calico. So that's where this one is from. It's an older one that I had purchased and just had in my stash. All right, so let's go ahead, get you on fast forward, and get started. All right, so this spread is going to come together fairly quickly just because it's kind of simple in design, and sometimes I really enjoy the way that looks when there's a bit more white space. There's not a ton of embellishing. It's just, a little bit here, a little bit there, and call that done. So first thing I needed to do was figure out what page to put these on. I am first drawn to this page right here where there is a black background paper, and then on the left side where I would add my title page, and then there is grid on the opposite page. I'm going to flip through and see if there's anything else that I like better, or that could also potentially be a good match color-wise. Here's another one. I'm really leaning towards the black color just because it feels a bit more summery. I decided against the stripe because I felt like it would be a little bit too busy, or you might lose a little bit of the how cool that black and white stripe is by me covering up most of it. So I went back to my original page here, this faves page with the black, and I'm going to cover up most of it with my journaling. So I originally printed my journaling and cut it down to 4 1/4 by 8 1/4, which would have covered up the entire page. But when I came across the black, I loved the way that it looked as a border around the journaling. So instead, I cut that down to closer to 4 inches by 8 inches. It might be slightly less than that, but it's basically a 4 by 8. So that when I go ahead and adhere it into the book, it's going to have a full outline of black around it. There's something about the pops of black when you're working with really bright summery colors like the teal and the yellow and this bright red. It just makes it feel even more summery, even though you're adding in a dark color. So, that's always a suggestion that I have, is when you're working with really super bright colors, add in a pop of black because it really, really takes it to another level. For my journaling, the next thing I wanted to do was add my acrylic pieces onto the page. I made the mistake of putting the pineapple in the middle before realizing that it actually needed to be maybe a little bit more to the right, because the first watermelon is wider than it is tall, whereas the other two are a little bit closer in size. So I will end up having to carefully peel those back up and move them just slightly to the right a little bit more so that everything can fit in here better. So you can see here where it's like, oh shoot, I put this too close. I considered leaving it where it was and just oh well, but I just couldn't. It just really bothered me. So I am peeling it up. I am rubbing off the adhesive there. It hasn't been stuck down long enough that it caused any real damage, me picking it back up. And then I will add my adhesive back on there again. I did put a little bit of double-sided adhesive from scrapbook.com. This one is the 1/8 of an inch thick tape. And I also then followed that up with a little bit from my roller adhesive as well. I did that because the score tape tends to have a stronger hold than the roller tape. So, so I make sure to add the score tape on there just for the stronger hold. And especially because this is going inside of a traveler's notebook, it's not going to be protected in page protectors or anything like that. So knowing that, I wanted it to have a stronger hold on the paper. So I'm going to get all 3 of those pieces down and put this one back down again. So silly that I messed that up. So if you are working with this same acrylic, I definitely recommend putting down the red watermelon first and then do the other ones because you'll get it a little bit more even. And then I'm going to move on to the actual title piece. Now, with title pieces like this one from Colorcast Designs, they all come with this paper backing on them. I know that some people prefer to take the backing off of them and put them onto their paper that way with, I don't really know what kind of adhesive you put on the back, because with an acrylic piece that is this light in color, you will be able to see the adhesive behind it. So for me, I left the backing on mine because I don't mind that it's a little bit more muted. If you take the backing off, it makes it a tiny bit brighter. If you leave the backing on, it makes it a little bit duller. And for me, I don't mind that. I think that it's still bright enough. It doesn't bother me. And then I could use whatever adhesive I wanted to use to stick it down on the page, and I know it's going to have a strong hold. I also considered potentially stitching this on here, so taking the backing off and then using some embroidery floss to stitch around the L and around the little tail of the E to help hold it on there. But to be honest, I forgot that that was even an idea I had, and I didn't do it. So we kept the backing on and we just taped it right down. Once I had that done, I added my score tape to the back side of my journaling page and stuck that directly onto the black page. And you can see how it is outlined there, and it looks awesome. So the last thing I need to do is get all of my photos arranged on the right side of this page. The beautiful thing is this page is grid, so that makes it a little easier to get the photos on there straight. The bad thing is it's very hard to judge the space in between the photos. So I do end up like peeling them up and putting them back down and peeling them up and putting them back down because I just couldn't get my spacing right. I still didn't get it right by the end, but it was close enough that I decided I really didn't care. However, now that there is that large amount of space in between all of those photos, it feels a little too stark. So I decided to go into some of my older Stories by the Month stamps from Allie Edwards. I believe I pull one out from June that says, "So darn happy it's summer again." And then I'm going to stamp that in between all of my photos. I believe I use my Honeyman ink. No, actually, I think I use Goldenrod ink from Paper Person, which is a yellow. So you'll see that when I pull it out. For my photos and this story, my story is, it's titled "Summer Looks Like This." And what I did is I went through some of my more recent photos that I have taken of my kids and our family, and then wrote out my journaling where it says, "Summer looks like, blah, 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 blah. Summer looks like blah, 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 blah." So it might be like, summer looks like wearing cool shades, summer looks like, dad gangs in the backyard with all the kids, because that was the second photo. Summer looks like silly faces in the pool, or, I just kind of went off of my photos to create my journaling. And the photos I picked specifically because they were things that made me think of summer, or things that are very, very much what we do during the summer. Bonfires and hanging out in the backyard and all that kind of stuff. We always do that every year. So it just felt like the right types of photos and the right types of journaling for this story. So now I've got everything stamped on there. I'm going to add my date stamp onto this page as well. And then once I've got that on there, I'm going to call this spread done. All right, friends, that completes my spread for today. This one turned out really, really fun. I'm so glad that I put this on that black paper and bordered it, because something about the punch of black with all of these really bright colors just makes it feel even more summery. So really happy with that decision, and love the way that this is all, I don't know, just the way that it visually appeals to me, having sort of a grid on this side and then a large portion with text on the opposite. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing this spread come together, and if you did, I would love a thumbs up on this video down below. I have also linked up the Colorcast Design shop down in my description, as well as all of the supplies I used for today's spread. So if you are interested in ordering or seeing what acrylic pieces are in the Colorcast Design shop, you can find that link down in the description box. I believe that is it. Oh, and if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. One last thing I want to mention is that one of the benefits of my Patreon, which is a member exclusive site, also linked in the description area, one of the things I do over in Patreon every month is I project plan or story plan with all of my Colorcast Designs products. So I get the acrylic and wood veneer subscription kit in the mail, and then I every month take all of the pieces from those subscription kits and plan out the stories that I'm going to tell with them. I also have an additional bonus video for Colorcast Design for a layout, and then I also do a live where I complete all of the remaining projects that I had planned out at the beginning of the month. All right, so I just wanted to throw that out there in case you don't already know about all of that. Okay, guys, well, that's going to do it for me for today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye, friends.